In this edition of reShape 333, I want to explore what I believe might be the gift of COVID-19, if there is one. I'm hoping that this 333 will have value both for those of you who consider yourselves people of faith or church people, and also for those of you who would not put yourselves in that category. I'd love to hear comments from both. That'd be fun. I want to pull back the covers on what I believe might be we're rediscovering about this human family that we're all a part of. And I want to do it in the next 333 seconds. So let's get at it. I'm pretty convinced that if the last 2 years of a global pandemic has exposed anything, it has exposed in us the deep, dominant human need for belonging and connection. In fact, many of us didn't even realize how deeply that ran in us until we didn't have it. In fact, initially, it might have even been a little bit refreshing to be freed from those expectations, to be freed from the expectations that relationships and friendships place upon us. We could escape, we could hide from it. We were placed in our tiny little bubbles. We were told to stay there. There were no expectations. In fact, some of us thought, now we can breathe for a little while, and we feel absolutely no guilt about it. All was well. But then as time went on, even for those of us who were the most introverted, something started to change. We started missing that face-to-face connection. We started longing for some human touch once again. It shouldn't surprise us. If you're like me and you believe in a creator, then you would say that we were created for that we were created with a desire for human connection and for intimacy and belonging. Even if you lean more towards an evolution of the species posture, you cannot escape the undeniable need for human beings to crave relationship. The last 2 years have exposed the depth of that need. I long for human connection. I long for relationship, for community, a need to belong with others and to live for something outside of myself. If you're a person of faith, you'd probably say that that's your story too. It's probably, in fact, what you long for in your church. If you're not a person of faith, but rather simply you see yourself as a member of this thing we call the human family, I'm sure you still see this deep human need for connection and belonging. And for the pastor or the church leader, what can we learn through this? Well, perhaps we can learn what we should have known, that the church at its best is a place for human connection. That the church at its best is where people should experience love, that the church at its best is a community where there's friendship and intimacy and authenticity, that the church at its very, very best is a place where you find belonging. Could that be the gift of COVID-19, in fact, to remind us of that? To those of you who are non-churchgoers, here's a question. Is there any way possible that the church could demonstrate community and belonging to you in such a way that you might turn your head to consider it, that you might raise your eyebrows and go, I'd love to hear your comments about that. And to the pastor or church leader, here's the big question that you need to answer. What needs to change in our church so that the pursuit of community and belonging is more central to our mission? How might our weekend church service need to change so that the pursuit of community and conversation becomes more central to the experience, not simply the dissemination of content? What new shape might the order of service need to take to encourage that? How might we reshape even the room and reshape even the way that we lay out our seating? What needs to change in your entire facility so that as people enter the doors, as soon as they enter, they experience this pursuit of belonging, the value of conversation, that the pursuit of community is undeniable? Think about some of that. I think that's probably enough to prompt some creative reflection in you, maybe even prompt a little bit of fun conversation. I'd love to hear your comments. Have some fun.